And we are back again, folks. It is, what is today? Jeez, December 5th. Wow. Back a little bit later, and I wanted to talk about more Academy Awards stuff this season. We're getting down to a busier time now again. We've got early December here. Critics lists have started coming out, the regional awards, as I like to call them. When you have your different states, critics groups and whatever start voting on best film and all that. And we've also got the first of the major televised awards announcing their nominations today, and that's the Critics' Choice. And I gotta say, I was very honest when I read the list here this morning. I didn't get a chance until now to talk about them or anything, so don't worry about that. But when I finally got a chance to look at it, I'm like, wow, I am surprised how restrained the critics were this year as far as, let's just nominate 12 things in one category. Let's nominate, 8 things in this category over here, and so on and so forth. That was actually not the case this year. For once, they actually decided, hey, let's stick to like 6 in a group. And guess what? Almost, I think, down the line, everything, including the screenplay categories, which previously have been stuck at 5 nominations, they had 6 everywhere. Now, I don't know if that's a major rule change. I just, didn't see the headline didn't read that that's what was going to happen. But it does seem like, across the board, we got 6 nominees in each category. Again, when we go through the list there, other than Best Picture they kept at 10. But otherwise, like directors at 6. I think last year we had 8 nominees in director. The supporting acting races, I think we had one of them had 7 last year, or a couple of them have had 7 in the last couple of years, something like that. No, not the case. Not the case this time. So with that all being said, we'll go ahead and we will go over what was nominated, what wasn't nominated, what films had a good morning, which ones could have done better, and so on and so forth. So I think we'll go ahead. Major headlines here, I think the first one is that in the major competitive categories that I count, Sinners led all with 16 nominations. The only nomination it got, one that I don't really count, is the Young Actor or Young Actress Award. Just because, again, there's no carryover. It doesn't carry any significance into the rest of the season. It's really just another award that, it's just there. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't have a lot of merit for the rest of the season. It doesn't mean, obviously, that, the younger actors shouldn't get recognized. I mean, I'm not saying, do away with the category entirely. I'm just saying I just don't really care about it. It's not really one I'm going to, stress about or anything. Anyhow, so... obviously we'll mostly dive into that here in this video. I will have a separate video up, and that'll come out either later on here today, I'll shoot it, or early tomorrow, I'll shoot it, for the final Golden Globe nomination predictions. Just time constraints this year, I just did not have another opportunity to get over and look over all those categories and give, in the middle of the season, more predictions or anything. I just couldn't get around to it this time. But we will definitely go into final nomination predictions. We'll do that, and then that'll be up by, again, Saturday, maybe Sunday at the very latest. And I will be here on Monday. We will go ahead and do the live reactions for those, and we will see how we do. In the meantime here, let's get into some other things here. Otherwise, I think One Battle After Another, I think, has 14 competitive nominations across the board here that are in major categories that I count, I think. And by the way, there is a new category this year at the Critics' Choice, the Stunt Design category. Because we are going to have that category next year at the Oscars, I'll count it this year for Critics' Choice as well. That's why, One Battle After Another and Sinners were both in there for that category. So I'm like, it's all right. It's all right to count that one. But, Otherwise, let's run down the list here for what's in, what's not in, and all that, and we will we'll go into it. So for Best Picture, the 10 films nominated are Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, Sinners, Train Dreams, and Wicked for Good. Now, of these 10 films, I would argue all of them except maybe Train Dreams are all in the top 10 to 15 as far as potential Best Picture nominations. The only ones I don't have getting in for Best Picture right now that are on this list are Frankenstein, or excuse me, not Frankenstein. I have that one in. Jay Kelly and Train Dreams. Those two I do not have in. Right now, if we look at my list, I've got It Was Just an Accident in there, which might not have qualified. It's interesting because when we look down, because I looked at that earlier, when I looked at the list earlier, I just kind of lumped another nomination into the foreign language film category. And then I saw later, it's like, oh, wait, it's not in there. And that was Sentimental Value. That is nominated for picture, and yet it's not in foreign language film, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But it might have to do with like qualifications. Maybe there was too much English language in that film, so it didn't qualify. And if that's the case, that makes me say, okay, well, will the Oscars kind of do the same thing when we get the short list here in a couple weeks? Maybe. So that could, I think that could explain that one away. Otherwise, it didn't really make sense to have that one there. And then you have films like, It Was Just an Accident and No Other Choice. Those were nominated in the foreign language film category, but they were not in Best Picture. And then we see the inverse of that with Sentimental Value, where that is in for picture, and a lot of the other top categories here, but it's not in for foreign language film. And again, how much of that is dependent on how much actually spoken English in the film and all that. That could obviously have a part in it too. But anyways, so the only ones I have in here, so that might also explain why one of my choices for Best Picture right now, and that was The Secret Agent and It Was Just an Accident, are not in there. Both those I do have in for picture. And then a few other categories here. Otherwise, the other thing is Marty Supreme. Obviously, we've seen that one. I think the last time we did a video, I think a new trailer had just come out, and I was like, oh, okay. I said I was much more on board with, not to say the first trailer was bad, but I just, I was like a little iffy on the first trailer. I'm like, it's good, but it doesn't scream to me that I should put it like number 3 or number 2 at the Oscars this year or anything. That second trailer was much more like, okay, now I see the energy of the film and stuff and everything. And then we got the reviews, and the reviews, last I checked, 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it is and all of them were glowing reviews. Everyone loves this movie, which makes me question why they couldn't post. Maybe it's a momentum thing. Maybe they didn't want to post those reviews when it did the secret screening at New York Film Festival almost 2 months ago now. Definitely over a month ago that screening happened. So that probably part of that has to do with momentum and the marketing campaign and everything for A24. They didn't want to let the cat out of the bag too early. That's potentially the thing, especially when you had a film like One Battle After Another get out to such a strong start after it had debuted. I guess that's probably the right play as far as the campaigning goes. But so that one I've moved into Best Picture, by the way. I had to kick out, who did I kick out? I think it was No Other Choice I finally kicked out, but yeah. Otherwise, films that were not in for Best Picture here at Critics' Choice, Avatar: Fire and Ash is one. That one has started screenings. I believe it did get special screenings. I don't think this is on Authority or anything, but everything I'm seeing says that it was screened for like Golden Globes. It was screened here for Critics' Choice. It's been screened for SAG, so it can be potentially up for any nominations there. The critic reviews have not come out yet, but obviously all the word so far is just from, some of the website folks and all that stuff. And again, I just never want to take those guys as words, to the grave or anything, because, again, those are people that are getting paid to say good things about movies as they come out. If they give their honest-to-God opinion on a lot of stuff, they might not get invited back to certain screenings by certain companies. So, anyways. So yeah, I'm not sure if Avatar: Fire and Ash, if that's like, if this is like the death knell, but it's certainly like, 10 nominations it couldn't get in. It didn't have a lot of support really through the rest of the voting here. When we look at its overall performance, it was really, and I looked at it, I look back and I was like, I think this is right, and it is. It's only up for visual effects. It's not up for the sound category where we have 6 nominations. It wasn't up for production design. It wasn't up for score. It wasn't up for costume design or cinematography or editing or any of these other potential categories I could get into elsewhere. It really struggled here, and they really only said, it's a good effects, and that's it. Now, and the other thing I've been thinking about, not that it's a crucial thing for like Oscar stuff, but we've seen the last couple Avatars. Obviously, the first one's a huge phenomenon and stuff, and it had relative staying power, but it wasn't it didn't have nearly the cultural impact of films like Titanic or Aliens or Terminator 2, some of these other James Cameron films. Avatar, The Way of Water, though, I thought was a far superior sequel. And when it came out, it was like, oh, we haven't seen an Avatar movie in 13 years. It's like, okay, so it was kind of an event again. And it did make, over $2 billion. It was celebrated, got the Best Picture nomination, all that. Now it's Fire and Ash. It's been 3 years. It's less of an event now. It's more like, oh, it's another Avatar. I do think that the box office will speak volumes here as far as, okay, is this going to be like one of the projected long-running franchises? Is this the next Star Wars, the next Indiana Jones, the next, so on and so forth down the list there, and all that of, kind of science fiction or adventure kind of films like that, or Harry Potter, or some of these that we keep getting new attempts to get the ball the ball rolling on further adventures and stuff with all the characters. But if the film does like less than $1 billion, then we know for sure that it's like, oh, a lot of the roses off the bloom and all that for this franchise. If it continues to do well, let's say it's 1.5 billion plus, that signals, okay, this is not just a successful, good franchise that's doing okay. It's still considered something of a relative event when the new films open and stuff. Whether or not that's going to impact its Best Picture chances, we'll see. But right now, I mean, it's already kind of a crowded field because you got Train Dreams out there, you've got No Other Choice, and it was just an accident that will very much be in contention for the Oscars. Jay Kelly obviously is in there too. That's one I have actually quite far down the list, but it's like, it's like Train Dreams kind of feels like it's in that maybe 16th, 15th spot. Like it feels like it's really on the periphery, but it's definitely got its passionate supporters for sure. It's way up there on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it was like 97, 98%, something like that. And it's Netflix. Netflix really, other than maybe Jay Kelly, it's like they're not going to have a ton out this year that's going to get a bunch of support outside of Frankenstein. And Frankenstein, again, is mostly going to play in the craft categories, but we'll see if it can break in for maybe a couple other ones, but we'll see. So I think really the only hit I think that for the Best Picture category really for any campaign right now is probably Avatar. Other than that, it's like, it's either you weren't going to be eligible because of maybe the foreign language film rule, or you were, kind of close, or, whatever, so... Yeah. For the directing category, we have Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Ryan Coogler for Sinners, Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, and Chloe Zhao for Hamnet. And relatively, I would say, again, if we're not going to include, I'm not sure if I can pronounce his name correctly here, but Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, who, don't short him. He's going to make it. I know he's going to make it. We know he's going to struggle at these awards. I mean, does he have a chance to get into Globes on Sunday, or Monday, rather? Potentially, yes, he's got a chance to get in there. Is he going to make BAFTA? Probably. Is he going to make the Directors Guild? Probably not. So some of these more industry-based awards that are more domestically based, he'll struggle at. But BAFTA, I have a good feeling he'll get in there. He should at least make the long list at worst, and all that. But still, if you're Joachim Trier, if you're, some of these other guys, Josh Safdie, I think you like getting the boost here today. Del Toro definitely did. And I think after that, it's like, we get kind of complicated as far as like the odds of making it and stuff, according to most of the sites here. But like Park Chan-wook, I think with No Other Choice, it still did respectable today, considering that it wasn't going to be eligible in some of these other categories. But like it's up for screenplay and just foreign language film only. And really at the Oscars, it felt like, okay, it could get in for those two, and then maybe director, and then maybe picture. Like it doesn't feel like it's one that's necessarily like a runaway success as far as acting category potential and all that. Otherwise, if you really like long shots, Klebner Mendonca Fijo, the director of The Secret Agent, I think he's got something of a shot. Otherwise, Yorgos is a possible outlier there for Begonia as well. Let's see here. So we'll move on to the acting races here. In Best Actor, you have Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. Right now, my 5 are Timothée, Michael B. Jordan, DiCaprio, Wagner, and I have Jeremy Allen White in there for Springsteen. And it was kind of telling to see that Springsteen didn't get a lot of love here today. In fact, it got nothing at Critics' Choice. But it's not a Critics movie. It did end up, I think it's right on the edge line there. But even the fact they didn't throw him a bone, that's not a great sign. And my thing, though, when we get to the industry awards and stuff, when we get to SAG and everything, that's where I think we can see maybe someone like a Dwayne Johnson get a boost. That, he was also not nominated here today. We could see him get a boost. We could see Jeremy Allen White get a boost. Maybe Jesse Plemons. Joel Edgerton and Ethan Hawke, those are both really critical darling movies, so it makes total sense for them getting in today. The Secret Agent with Wagner Moura, that could also be considered that. I think, though, the word of mouth on the movie is so strong that I think it's in a spot where it's like, I think enough actors, in the voting branch will have seen it for him to make it in. But he's still something of a liability as far as his nomination chances. We know everyone's probably watching One Battle After Another, so it makes sense for Leo to get in. Michael, and he's been nominated several times. Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, we know they're watching that, and we know Timothée, we know they're watching Marty Supreme. So those 3 feel very safe. The other 2, you can see an angle here where Wagner misses, and Jeremy Allen White missing today. I think now he's really at this rate. We'll see. I think he's okay for Golden Globe since they break that down between drama and comedy musical. I think he'll get in for the drama race. If he does not, that's a really bad sign. Then his really only hope is SAG. And if he can't make the 5 at SAG, he's probably toast. He's probably done. Otherwise, George Clooney with Jake Helly actually doing better than expected here today at the critics group. How many did that get? I think I got 4 nominations, yeah, including Best Picture. The fact that he was not one of those nominations, it's like, I don't know. Even though early on in the voting, or in the screenings, I should say, it did feel like, a lot of people are saying, oh, this is one of Clooney's best performances and so on. Really, that star has faded a lot as far as the movie's potential and stuff. We'll get into the rest of the nominations it got today, but yeah. Otherwise, like Brendan Fraser, Daniel Day-Lewis, some of them, it's like, it just felt like it wasn't really going to be their year, especially with like Rental Family just landing with a thud, even though the critics have liked it. The fact that it got like almost nothing here today, I think the only thing was that young actor category. It's just a sign that it's not going well for that film either. Best Actress, your 6 are Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Chase Infinity for One Battle After Another, Renate Renvy for Sentimental Value, Amanda Seyfried for The Testament of Anne Lee, and Emma Stone for Begonia. So of those, I've got 4 of the 5, 4 of those 6 rather, getting in at the Oscars, and then my 5th one is Cynthia Erivo, who was very oddly absent from this list. And it would have made sense if Wicked was, kind of, a little splattered as far as its picks here and there. It was a little scattered as far as what it was getting. But it's in for cast. It's in for supporting actress. We'll get to that in a minute. It was in for picture. It's got a good haul in the tech categories. Not every last category, but, it's in there for a few things. It's like, I'm not really sure what happened there. I mean, I haven't gotten around to the film yet. I know the critics actually were pretty hard on it, and it has been a film I think the fans have really enjoyed, but like critics have been, a little harsh with it, and they haven't liked it, but I guess, you could obviously, this is Critics' Choice, you could track it back to that, but it still ends up, let me count here, let me make sure I've got it right here. If I counted correctly, it was 8 nominations, or no, 7, hold on, maybe I am miscounting, hold on. 1, 2, okay, picture, supporting actress, ensemble, production design, costume design, song, and makeup. That's 7. Okay, it's in for 7 awards. Okay. At least the ones that I count. It might have gotten 1 or 2 other weird nominations. They used to have weird nominations here, like Best Actor in an Action Movie and shit like that. And again, that makes me say, okay, is Cynthia maybe a little vulnerable here? Now, I think the Globe she'll easily bounce back at, and she'll make that. SAG, we'll see. SAG might be a little like, okay, if they really like Sentimental Value, if that goes over really well there, and Renee kind of surprises us there and makes a run, okay, then it could be a little troublesome for Cynthia. if she gets locked out of SAG. And if I recall, didn't she miss at BAFTA last year or something? Oh, no, she got in. She got in. I was worried she was going to miss, but she did not. BAFTA with 6 nominations. Obviously, if she doesn't make it there, that's not a great sign, but yeah. And yeah, a lot of the critics anyways, a lot of them really did adorn. They said Ariana Grande really did do a really great job in this in the second film here, so yeah. Otherwise, I'm still not fully on board with the Chase Infinity thing. I'm just not confident that's going to happen. Not that, it's not anything against her, but it's like, is that really a lead performance? My answer is no. Now, she could backdoor in and get a supporting actress nomination, though, for it. I can totally see the voters, going their own way at the Oscars, even though she's been campaigning as a lead. I can see them turning around and saying, no, she's supporting, the same way they went Lakeith Stanfield a few years ago for Judas and the Black Messiah, where he was campaigning in lead, and then it kind of got momentum late, and then they switched it, and they said, well, he's really supporting, and they put him in. That was, kind of a bizarre thing. That was something I don't think anyone had on their radar. This, I would say, is much more on the possibility of, on the radar of possibility. Otherwise, for the ones who got in, I think everyone else is kind of more or less expected. I'm just a little shy about putting Rose Byrne in for the Oscars just yet, because again, what's the visibility on the film? It doesn't sound like it's really got a lot of potential in other categories. That's always really, really hard to do in the acting races, and we usually get, you'll get one or two that happen, but it's like, I don't know. This might be a case where it's like, no, I think, Amanda Seyfried, I think Emma Stone, probably Cynthia too, even though she missed here today. They're going to be much better bets than Rose. Otherwise, actresses that did miss out today that, your campaign has probably heard a little bit, like, Jennifer Lawrence for Die My Love, that one has been fading a little bit. Julia Roberts for After the Hunt with six spots here and you couldn't get in. That's not great. Tessa Thompson for Hedda, yeah, I mean, she might make it into the Globes, but yeah. So it gets a little, for some of those other ones, it's getting late, a little early into the season here, if you will. Supporting actor. Your 6 nominees here are Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, Paul Mescal for Hamnet, Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, Adam Sandler for Jay Kelly, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. And basically, I think across the board, these are kind of the consensus top 6, if not top 7, campaign or choices here in this category. And really the only one, the one I have in at the Oscars right now, and I've been considering throwing him out, is Delroy Lindo for Sinners. The fact that Sinners did do so well across the board in most of the other categories, and they couldn't get Delroy in, that does make me say, okay, yeah, maybe we start looking more closer at Jacob, possibly The Sandman. But again, I just don't know. I just don't know if Jay Kelly is going to have the momentum right now. I mean, it did okay here at Critics' Choice, a movie that critics liked, but they didn't love. Yeah, and it's like, I look at the other alternatives, it's like, does Jeremy Strong feel good right now? Probably not. Miles Catton, I don't think he's really in the conversation much right now. We could go with a true outsider like a William H. Macy. He kind of feels like a dark horse right now. If Train Dreams really takes off, that could happen. Though he wasn't included today, though. This is one spot. I feel like Train Dreams, that if it's doing well here, okay, then this might be a one and done deal. But if it does well here and he's not included and this is the high point, yeah, he's probably not getting in then. But I guess the thing with Frankenstein, I haven't quite gotten around to Frankenstein either. Is it sounds like it's been a fairly well viewed film off of Netflix and everything. Sounds like he's actually really, really good in it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, unfortunately. But that one I do plan to see here in hopefully the next week or two. It's on Netflix for everyone to watch. So yeah, I probably will get around to it here. For supporting actress, you have Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, Ariana Grande for Wicked for Good, Inga is daughter Lilias for Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan for Weapons, Wunmi Mosuke for Sinners, and Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. Again, outside of maybe Amy Madigan, who I've been a little like, will she get in? I don't know. I mean, it sounds like it was kind of a scene-stealing kind of deal with Weapons. I haven't gotten around to that film yet. I do know other people that have seen it, but is it possible? Yes. The fact that it also got in for like makeup today, which I believe it did, if I read that note correctly, and we'll obviously get to that category much later, which it did. That could be a weird one where it's like it gets makeup and an acting nomination, even though it's not really like a heavy Oscar favorite for like a lot of other categories. I can see that happening. Otherwise, the 5 I have getting in at the Oscars, they're all here. Marty Supreme not doing, not being able to get anybody in from the supporting race here is like, okay, is it, for sure going to happen? Probably not. But, we could see, Gwyneth, and Odessa Azion, they're not done yet just because they didn't get in today. It is 6 spots, but it's like, ooh. The only one I would say probably that had a chance that missing today did hurt is probably Emily Blunt for The Smashing Machine. And Smashing Machine, even though it was, again, fairly well-liked by the critics, mostly well-liked, the fact that it did only settle for the makeup nomination and it couldn't get any acting nominations, especially, again, when we have 6 nominations, that's not really all that great. So, yeah. Moving on to the screenplay races. In original screenplay, we have Jay Kelly, we have Marty Supreme, Sinners, Weapons, Sorry Baby, and Sentimental Value. Really the only one here that I think still stands a really good shot at the Oscars, and I've got it in, but it's not in today, is The Secret Agent. That one I think can totally break in for that category, especially if it does end up with a picture nomination, actor, foreign language film, or international film as it is at the Oscars and stuff. But yeah, good for Weapons. Good for Weapons hanging in there. Let me think here. What else did it get today? I thought it was just... Was it 3 or 4? Yeah, 3. 3 competitive nominations. It's also in for one of the young actor, young actress categories, but again, who gives a shit? So yeah, 3 big nominations here. That shows it's got some staying power, which is, good for that film, good for the momentum of that film. I'd say otherwise, let me think here. Sentimental Value's in. It was just an accident is the other one I think we'll easily get in here at the Oscars. It was just, just something that just, they weren't really considering it, I guess, in some of the other categories here. Or there was some weird rule thing going on, but yeah. Otherwise, Blue Moon, Is This Thing On? Were a couple things that possibly could have broken in today. And then, Is This Thing On? Even though it's gotten some really good reviews and it's high up on the tomato meter, that got skunked today. That didn't get anything, but yeah. For adapted screenplay, we have One Battle After Another, Train Dreams, No Other Choice, Frankenstein, Begonia, and Hamnet all getting in. Relatively in that category, it feels like, okay, we're kind of close there. Like, I have No Other Choice getting in. I have Wake Up Dead Man also getting in. Wake Up Dead Man only, I think that only got ensemble, didn't it? Or actually, no, it didn't even get ensemble. No, it's not. That got skunked as well. I still feel like with that one, Glass Onion got in for adapted screenplay, so I think this one will make it as well. Frankenstein, I feel like it's, again, mostly going to run in those texts, but again, I haven't quite gotten to the film. That's one I have been kind of considering to throw in there. Train Dreams could be that, that one of those things where it's like it gets that and nothing else. It's also, got a really competitive get, though, and really competitive spot, though, for possibly breaking into cinematography. And we will this year for the cinematographers. Their branch is going to include films on their shortlist this year. So we'll find out here in a few weeks if it makes the shortlist or not. But yeah. Otherwise, I think the rest of them, Begonia, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, those are gimmies. Those are all getting in. Even though Begonia feels like kind of one of those possible fringe contenders in Best Picture, I still think it's going to get in at least for screenplay, even if it doesn't break through for picture. Let's see here. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, it was weird to see like No Other Choices here, and yet something like It Was Just an Accident that got stuck with, foreign language film only. That was kind of strange, but anyways. So for cast and ensemble, we have Hamnet, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Wicked for Good getting in. My choices here at the Oscars, I've got a few overlaps here. I've got One Battle After Another, Sinners, Sentimental Value, Hamnet, and Marty Supreme. So I don't have Wicked in there, and I don't have Jay Kelly in there. And they did not go for Sentimental Value, but yeah. That's the first year we have that category, so it's going to be a bit of a crapshoot to figure out who's in, who's out for that one. All right, I guess we will go ahead and after that we'll go into the tech categories here next. Starting with cinematography, we have F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams all getting in. And I feel like with this one, I've got really the one that's not in here at Critics' Choice. I'm a little surprised at is Marty Supreme. And that one ended up, even though it's got director and everything, it's got 8 total nominations. The fact they couldn't fit that one in for cinematography, it's like, that's a little strange. Let's see. Otherwise, let's see here. Who's in? Am I missing one for my predictions that got in today? I don't think so. No, the rest of them I have in. Yeah. So really, the one I have in that's not in at Critics' Choice is Marty Supreme. Otherwise, I would say at this rate, from what I've heard, it's like Begonia has an outside shot, Testament of Anne Lee has an outside shot, Wicked has an outside shot, and then Nouvelle Vague is definitely one I would not say is totally out of it yet either. With its black and white cinematography, the branch could go crazy for that. If it gets in on the short list, I think I'll consider it even more so. But I think one of these other contenders would probably have to drop off, and really surprise us by not making it to have that happen. For editing, House of Dynamite, F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Perfect Neighbor, and Sinners are our nominees here. The Perfect Neighbor, I really don't know much about this one. It's on Netflix, and it's a documentary. Good for Critics' Choice for putting in, kind of off the wall contender in there. I put in my predictions, I put F1 in there in place of Sentimental Value, so I do have that one getting in now. Marty Supreme I have in there, Hamnet, Sinners, and One Battle After Another. So I got pretty good one there. So this is one spot where Hamnet did not get nominated, but otherwise Hamnet, it's across the board pretty good here today. It's in for picture, director, actress, supporting actor, ensemble, adapted screenplay, cinematography, costume design, production design, score. So that was 10 nominations there. And it could very easily repeat in all 10 of those categories at the Oscars and still get in for its editing and potentially for, I think there was one other category and I've forgotten what it was now. I think that was it actually. No, that might be it. Yeah. Let's see here. Now, House of Dynamite I had in for a bit and I dropped it. It just feels like it is one that is losing steam. It's on Netflix, and it feels like it is a little lost in the shuffle right now. A film like Warfare could easily take that spot at the Oscars if we want to go with a more, kind of bang bang movie, war movie, if you will. I could totally see Warfare making it in over that. And then Wicked for Good, that not getting in here. I had it outside my 5 for the Oscars, but it's probably not the greatest that did not make it. But yeah. Moving on to the design categories. Costume design is up first. We have Frankenstein, Hamnet, Hedda, Kiss of the Spider-Woman, Sinners, and Wicked for Good getting in. Now, Kiss of the Spider-Woman, that is Colleen Atwood. I've not really put that one high up on my list this year as far as possibly making it at the Oscars, but you kind of have to consider her. I'm like, yeah, I probably should have put her a little higher. But right now I've got Testament of Anne Lee, Sinners, Hamnet, Wicked for Good, and Frankenstein in there. Those 5 feel really solid. So it's just going to be if one of them falls out in place of Kiss of the Spider-Woman, then we get Colleen another nomination, but we'll see. On the production design side, we have the Fantastic Four First Steps. A little nice choice there. Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, Sinners, and Wicked for Good. Now, this is a spot, it's like, ooh, Marty Supreme got in. That's interesting. And it's not one I have in at the Oscars right now. Right now I have Avatar getting one of those spots, then Hamnet, Sinners, Wicked for Good, and Frankenstein. So, Fantastic Four, we'll see. I'm not sure. Otherwise, I think that's it for that one. For the music category, score, we have F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. Relatively, I think those are all kind of in competition at least. Wicked, not getting in there is probably not great. Let's see here. Otherwise, F1, I don't really have that one high up on the list. I'm not sure about that one. And then, I feel like with this one, like Frankenstein, even though Desplat has just been completely avoided by the Academy here in the last few years, it's a film we know they're watching. It's just going to be if that particular branch just, again, rebels against him getting, more nominations and stuff. Otherwise, Begonia, I think, still stands something of an outside shot of getting in as well. Yeah. All right. For the song category, the 6 here are Drive from F1, Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters, I Lied to You from Sinners, Clothed by the Sun from The Testament of Anne Lee, Train Dreams from Train Dreams, and The Girl in the Bubble from Wicked for Good. Let me pull up here. What's my 5 here? I don't think I've changed anything. So I put in, in place of Girl in the Bubble, I put in No Place Like Home for Wicked. I Lied to You I have in. Golden I have in. I have the other one from F1, which is Lose My Mind, getting in right now. But then I do see, F1 Drive, that's Ed Sheeran has a part in that. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's why they put it in. And we might see a flip when we get to that one. Otherwise, Zoo from Zootopia 2, I also have getting one of those spots. Let's see here. Yeah, Clothed by the Sun, I had in kind of the runners-up kind of spot there. But so far, Relentless, which is that's going to be the Diane Warren possible nomination this year. Yeah, we'll see. Because she's not always one that makes all these precursors and then gets in at the Oscars. Like, she mostly... I'd have to look, but I think the trajectory for her nominations, if I'm not mistaken... I don't have the numbers up in front of me or anything, but it's like, I feel like she's one that almost always misses the Globes, but then gets in at the Oscars kind of deal. And Critics' Choice, it's very close to that same record. Like, yeah, she'll get in some years, but she had like the Hunting Ground song and stuff. It's like that, I think, got in almost across the board that year. It might have missed it at the Golden Globes, but I remember that one doing pretty well, running up to the Oscars. And we all thought, oh, it's probably going to happen for Diane. And then, nope, here comes Sam Smith with the Writings on the Wall, which is a totally, mostly forgettable Bond song. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the hair and makeup category next. We've got 28 Years Later, one I wasn't really expecting to get in, but that's in. Frankenstein, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, Weapons, and Wicked for Good. Right now, my 5 at the Oscars are Frankenstein, Wicked for Good, Smashing Machine, Sinners, and Begonia. Begonia, I think, still stands a little bit of a shot there. Weapons, though, I definitely think is much so in consideration, especially if you like Amy Madigan's chances. If you like her chances, then yes, I think she's got a good shot. Otherwise, again, I would say an outside contender that we might see show up, especially if it's on the short list. One Battle After Another. It's not in the movie very long, but there is some makeup stuff in that one, so look out for that one here. We'll do the sound category next. That one is F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, Seurat, and Warfare. Now, Seurat is, I believe that's the, wasn't that the entry for, it was at Cannes, but who selected that one? Spain. Spain submitted that one for international feature at the Oscars. It was also nominated for foreign language film here at Critics' Choice. Again, kind of a little bit of a, you picked that one kind of nomination, but yeah, again, good for them for going against the grain there a little bit. Again, this is a spot I can totally see Avatar making an impact here. Mission Impossible might get in here for this one at the Oscars. Possibly House of Dynamite could get in as well, so look out for those ones to potentially steal a spot. Then I think we're done with those. We'll throw in the design stunt design category here in a second. But visual effects: Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, Frankenstein, Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, Sinners, and Superman all got in for the visual effects. Now, Sinners I do not have in right now, but I have Wicked for Good in there, and again, this is a spot where Wicked did not make it in, and it's like, okay, we'll see. Now, we'll see about Wicked's chances, too, because I have to remind myself here, I think that missed last year, did it not? For the visual effects, or did that actually get nominated? I can't remember. I just remember the visual effects in the movie were fine. I just didn't think they were, terrific. But no, it did make it in last year, yeah. So that's part of the reason I have it in this year. Otherwise, yeah, Fantastic Four, it got nominated for production design, but not for visual effects. Again, usually we get a Marvel film in there at the Oscars, but I don't know. It doesn't always translate across the board and everything at the other precursors here, but yeah. Otherwise, yeah, F1, when you look at the other thing at the list of nominations here, it actually didn't do too shabby today. It's up for cinematography, editing, score, song, visual effects, sound, and the stunt design category too, which we haven't gotten to quite yet. And in the design category for stunts, you have Ballerina, F1, Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Warfare. I would say when we get to the stunt category at SAG, Probably 5 of these 6 are in. I would say F1 is probably in. Mission Impossible is definitely in. I would probably put Sinners in there. One Battle After Another is a potential one as well. You usually get one, if not two, ensemble picks that cross over. Possibly Wicked could break in as well. And then it's just going to be, okay, do they like Ballerina? Do they like Warfare? Do they like maybe Fantastic Four? Could they possibly go off the wall a little bit and pick like The Smashing Machine or maybe Superman? Could they go possibly Weapons? That would be a freak, kind of sneaky little pick there that could make it in. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, otherwise for a couple other, we have 2 other ones that'll carry over. Animated feature where we had Arco, Elio, In Your Dreams, K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Emily, or Amelie. I'm not sure how the squiggly lines go. Or the character of Rain, and Zootopia 2 get in. Yeah, I'm not so hot on Elio getting in. I just think, it's not a great, didn't have a great box office reception. Critics were okay on it. I think that was just kind of let's fill a spot kind of thing this year. So yeah, Scarlet I think has a much better shot when we get to the Oscars. That's going to be more of an international love, and the international voters are much more populist at the Oscars than they are at here at Critics' Choice. And then last but not least is the foreign language film category. Of course, international feature when we get to the Oscars. It Was Just an Accident, Left-Handed Girl, No Other Choice, The Secret Agent, Seurat, and Belén, if I'm pronouncing that right, from Argentina are the choices there. All right, and I think that's it for Critics' Choice here today. But yeah, I'd say overall, again, if you're a film like Wicked, you were kind of a little spotty. If you're Marty Supreme, there's like 1 or 2 that you got into that are like, oh, nice, like a director, getting in there with 6 slots, and then getting in for like production design. It's like, ooh, nice. If you're F1, I think you overperformed today. If you're One Battle After Another, I think you're doing about what you want. If you're Sinners, you did about what you want, if not a little more so. And getting Woonmi in there early for supporting actress, that makes me say, okay, she's, because I kind of been a little worried about her in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, where I've been like, could she maybe fall out? And I think even the last video I was talking about the possibility of her falling out. Yeah, the nomination here today really helps. If she gets one of those 6 spots at the Golden Globes, that makes me feel even better. Possibly she could fall out at BAFTA if it's only 5 slots. With only 5 slots at SAG, there's a chance that she drops out there. We'll see, but yeah. And the other thing too with Weapons, getting 3 nominations here, big nominations today, especially getting one of those having one of those 2 of those actually be above the line in supporting actress and screenplay. Amy Madigan is a previous nominee. That's always something that you got to consider there. Now that nomination was quite a long time ago, almost 40 years ago now, but hey, it's a popular enough movie. She's a known actress. She's been nominated before. It's a very popular role in the film and everything. Makes sense for her to be nominated. Yeah, otherwise, like if you're Avatar, wasn't your day. It kind of hurt today. Now that being said, when we look back, because really quick I'm going to look back at how Avatar Way of Water did. Let's see, how many nominations did that one land? 1, and now keep in mind, they had 10 nominees for Best Director this year in 2022. They had picture, director, they had cinematography, editing, production design, and visual effects all get nominated. So, it did pretty well there. So it's like, and we won't go back to 2009 quite that far, but it's like, okay, even if you dropped the director nomination, still it would have gotten at least 5 then, in for cinematography, which had 6 nominations. Editing, I believe, had 6. Production design had 7. Hold on. No, that one also had 6. Visual effects had 6 as well. Okay. I was like trying to pick, I was like, how many of those had like way more nominations and stuff? But yeah. Yeah, so it's like, okay, it's not a thing where like the critics have always just, not given it nominations, and stuff. So it's like, that's not the best of news, for them. Otherwise, yeah, if you're the international films like No Other Choice and It Was Just an Accident, probably not the end of the world you didn't get in today. Again, there's probably 1 or 2 things with the voting choices and stuff where it just wasn't going to be eligible for some of those top categories. You have to, the one that they really had to land though was international feature to show they were on the radar, at least for the critics. So that's all good. Otherwise, yeah, Train Dreams. If you're Train Dreams and you're Netflix, you're really happy with your performance. Frankenstein, you're really happy getting like director in, getting supporting actor to kind of verify that yes, you are contenders in these categories. You're not just strictly going to be, tech categories and then probably picture, maybe picture. It's like no, you're pretty solid. And especially if you're Jay Kelly, the morning that Jay Kelly had, even though it's not consistent, again, it's a little spotty. It's like, okay, it's up for cast, it's up for screenplay and acting race and picture. It's like you just needed, you needed something in your veins if you're that film. You needed some energy back in your campaign because it really peaked after like the Venice premiere and stuff. It's like after that, it just really fell out of conversation quickly and felt like, okay, maybe it's in for director, maybe it's in for picture, maybe it's in for actor, it's in for supporting actors, it's in for screenplay, might break in for score, might get one or two other ones, that'll sneak around in the tech categories. And then it was like, is it going to get anything? It kind of really died away. But yeah, getting 4 big nominations, including and especially that picture nomination, really does drag it back up. And it's like, okay, it's not completely out yet. I expect it to do okay at the Golden Globes. Again, we'll get to those predictions in a separate video. Might get to it today. If not, it will be up on the channel here in the next couple days. Obviously, before we get to the nominations Monday morning, obviously we will have everything settled there. Otherwise, I don't think we'll really have way too much to talk over here. So I kind of gave up some updated predictions on the Oscars as well, because I know it has been a bit. And I have switched, a few things around here and there in some of the tech categories and so on. But yeah, I think that's it for now. We will be back here again a little bit later on. We will do the Golden Globe final predictions for who's getting nominated there. And yeah, the Oscar race will get much more competitive. One last thing we should mention. So far, though, with the critics groups and stuff, which I kind of mentioned off the top there, but didn't really get into way too much yet. One Battle After Another is really off to a good start in that way. It's getting those critics groups early. They're not going for like some of their more critical darlings. Not to say that it's not a critical darling, but like they're not going for It Was Just an Accident. They're not going for Train Dreams. They're not going for The Secret Agent or No Other Choice or potentially something like a Hamnet or some of these other ones or Marty Supreme, which kind of again got some really late momentum and stuff. Not to say I'm not sure when. Every critic got to see the screenings of that movie. I'm not sure if it was right before the reviews dropped on Monday, but of this week, December 1st. But it was probably a few weeks before that, if I had to guess. But yeah. So yeah, I think again, I said it way back in October, and I might be still sticking to it that One Battle After Another might already have Best Picture under lock and key. We will see, but yeah, it's right now again. Off the momentum it has. It might not have led nominations today, but I don't think it was quite going to be expected to do that. You have Sinners, which is going to be more consistent, I think, in the tech categories than One Battle After Another will. It's got a potential to break into like the song category. I don't think One Battle After Another is even eligible there. One Battle After Another too. It got 5 acting nominations, if I'm reading correctly. That's a terrific sign. Getting Tiana Taylor, Benicio del Toro, and Sean Penn. Getting Chase Infinity and Leo all nominated, though, that shows a real strength for that film. Is it going to get 5 acting nominations? I don't know. We haven't seen that happen in a long time, from my memory at least. What was the last one to get 5 acting nominations? Jeez. Google, help me out. Let me see. Let me see here. I don't know if this list is complete or not. But right now I've only got 4 films down. And I'll see if it's even... Because I'm thinking Network is in here. Didn't Network get... I was going to say 6, but I was like... Well, hold on. It got 2 lead actors, lead actress, 1 supporting actor, 1 supporting actress. I was like, oh, okay. Because I felt like I always remembered that like Robert Duvall also got in, but he did not. He did not get in. Ned Beatty stole that spot from him, more or less stole. But yeah, the other films that have gotten 5 acting nominations, you've got Mrs. Miniver, which I remember getting. That's Best Actor, Best Actress. I think it got 2 supporting actresses and a supporting actor in, if I remember the run correctly on that. Peyton Place, which got like three supporting actresses, lead actress, and a supporting actor nomination. If I'm remembering that right, or no, it got two supporting actors, two supporting actor, and lead actress. Godfather Part 2 is the other one that got lead actor, supporting actress, and three supporting actors in. Godfather Part 1 got 4. So, yeah, this would be the first one in almost exactly 50 years. Almost 50 years to get 5 acting nominations. So, if Chase Infinity breaks in. The other 4, I think you got to feel really good about Teyonah Taylor's chances. I think both Del Toro also is doing extremely well with these critics groups already. He's already winning some of these supporting acting races, which again makes me say, what did I say early? I said, don't be totally shocked if Sean Penn, right now with 6 slots, he's one of them too. But if once that dribbles down to 5 at the Oscars, don't be shocked if Sean Penn gets looked over and they go with Benicio being the only nominee for that category. That could totally happen. Otherwise, Leo has felt relatively safe here for a while. But yeah, if he gets in, Tiana gets in, and then the 2 for supporting actor get in, then the other one is Chase Infinity. And can she backdoor into that supporting actress category? Absolutely. I think she absolutely can. So, that all being said, I think that's all I've got for now. We'll try this again, but we will be back. We'll do we'll do the Golden Globes here in just a little bit, but that's all we got for now, though.